The tortoise is not playing around with Shango. He does not like dogs. And then you can see each side, they got a lot of space, but this is the house. Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is the part 2 of the tortoise enclosure build. So what this video is going to be all about is building the tortoise shelter. So we're going to be building the house that the tortoises are going to go in at night and sleep in and get away from the elements and things like that. So I had this video already made, completely filmed and everything. And the tortoise shelter is already built, so I'm filming this after that video took place. But when I went back to start editing, the sound was off for my entire intro. So luckily the sound is there for the rest of the video, but for the intro, the sound was off. I don't know what's up with these GoPros, man. If you guys follow the channel, you know I be having problems with GoPros all the time. But anyways, so I have to refilm everything, and I don't remember exactly everything that I was talking about in that intro, but I'm gonna do my best to kind of go over that again. So to start off, what materials am I using for the tortoise shelter build? So I went to Home Depot and I got my supplies, and when I was there, I got 8-foot long by 4-foot tall plywood, and then I got 8-foot long and 4-foot tall insulation, foam insulation. And in terms of the plywood, I got 2 different levels of thickness. So the thicker piece of plywood is going to go on the outside of the shelter, and the thinner piece of plywood is going to go on the inside of the shelter, and it's going to sandwich that insulation in the middle. And the reason why I put the thinner piece on the inside is simply just for the reason that I don't want the tortoises digging at it or chewing on it, and I want it to be protected because that insulation is going to be really important to regulate the temperature inside of the shelter. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing with these pieces, and what you're going to see in this next clip, is I'm going to shave the pieces down. They're 4 feet tall right now, and that's a little too tall for myself to be able to get inside of the enclosure when I need to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut them down a foot so that they're only 3 feet tall, and then in the future, if I ever need to go inside of the enclosure and I could take off the roof, if I ever need to go inside the enclosure and take the tortoises out or check on them or whatever, it's easy for me just to step right over and go into the enclosure. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna be doing in this next clip. You're just gonna be seeing me cut these pieces down so that they're a good size and they're not too tall for me to get into the shelter. So when this shelter is completely finished, the entire dimensions of the shelter is gonna be 8 feet long by 8 feet wide, and then it's gonna be split in half because obviously I need to keep the tortoises separated from each other because they fight, they're both males. So each tortoise on each side of the enclosure is gonna have 4 feet by 8 feet of space that they can go in and hide, and that will give me room if I wanna put any females in there or any other tortoises in there with them, definitely not males, but any other female tortoises in there with them, then I can, and they'll all be able to fit very comfortably. Let's keep this intro short and sweet, and let's start the building. See you guys in a little bit. You guys, update time and side notes for next time. So as you can see, everything here is cut now to size except for the insulation, and I'm going to save the insulation cutting for the next step that I'm about to do. As far as notes go, first note is if I'm going to be working with big pieces of wood like this, then I need a bigger workbench, because that bench it's one of those portable ones that you get at Home Depot, and it was not working for the size of these boards, especially the flimsy ones. The flimsy boards, it's so hot out here that my GoPro keeps overheating. But as I was saying, the flimsy boards they were starting to crack and starting to bend and break a little bit as I was cutting them. Now that's not a problem because the thinner boards are going to be used for the inside of the shelter, and all they're there for is just so that the tortoises don't destroy the insulation. You don't want to leave the insulation exposed because the tortoises might bite at it, they're going to be running into it, bumping it, and it will eventually break apart and fall apart because all it is foam. So that's why I got those really thin boards to put in front of the insulation so that the tortoises can't get to it. That's its only use. So if they break or if they're not cut perfect, it's not that big of a deal when it comes to the thinner boards that are going on the inside of the enclosure. You could even use like chicken wire or something like that if you wanted to just basically have a barrier between the tortoises and the insulation. So everything is cut to size except for the insulation. Another side note is when you are cutting things, make sure you're paying attention to where you're cutting, because I happen to cut into my workbench, if you can see that. So yeah, again guys, not the greatest builder in the world. This is all new to me and still a learning experience. Luckily it wasn't worse. So what's gonna happen next is, now that I got everything cut, I am going to stack everything together, kind of like these ones are. So I got the bigger board on the bottom, insulation in the middle, and then the thinner board on top. And what I am going to do is I'm going to take some screws, and I'm going to take my screw gun, and I'm going to screw these all together. So I'll probably put four to six screws into each one. Maybe more than that. Basically, I'm gonna put some screws in there to hold them together and make them all one solid piece. And these are gonna make up each sides of the walls of the tortoise house. And I'll try to set up my camera. Like I said, my camera keeps overheating, but I'll try to set it up so that you guys can see kind of how I'm doing this and what's going on. All right, you guys, so as you can see, this is the finished product once I screwed everything together. So as you can see, it's a sandwich. Got the bigger piece on the bottom, insulation in the middle, and the thinner piece on top. But the thinner side is going to be going on the inside of the house. The thicker part will be on the outside. So now, as you can see, as I told you before, I didn't cut the insulation. So now what I'm gonna do now is basically just take a box cutter, and I'm thinking, because this is foam, I'm thinking I could just take a box cutter and slice through that, and I should be able to cut through it fairly easily. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And if that doesn't work, then I'll have to figure something else out, but I'm pretty sure that will work. Come on, Shango, damn. Damn dog always wants to be right next to me. So I'm thinking if I take a line like that, I should be able just to break it off. Yeah. And that just comes right off. And that's simple. So it is day 2 of the tortoise house build, and I realized something. I didn't build the doors, or I didn't cut out the doors to their house. So I have to do that. So I got a jigsaw, and I'm hoping it'll be able to cut through everything so that I can make the doors an entrance to their house, because what's the point of having a house if they can't get in it? So that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. I'm gonna try to cut the doors in to these boards with the insulation and everything, and hopefully I don't screw it up. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, and then it'll be time to put the house together. And so you can see right here, that is the end result a little thin on that side. I wish I wouldn't have cut it so close, but I think we'll do better on the other side. The reason why I don't want it so thin is just because the tortoises, they bump into it and they run into it and stuff, and I want it to be strong enough to where they're not gonna, you know, knock the whole thing down. So, but it should be supported by the other sides of the walls and stuff like that, so we should be okay. But what I use for that, and this actually worked really well, is just the jigsaw, Ryobi jigsaw, and it was able to cut through everything like nothing. So let me do this other side. Now that's more like it. See how it's thick on that side? That's what we like. Pause. All right, so with the completion of the doors, now it is time to put everything together. And you're probably wondering, you know, you probably noticed that I didn't have the roof done. I didn't do anything with the roof. And the reason for that is because I don't really know exactly what I'm gonna do with the roof yet. It rains a lot here. And so I kind of want to put like a slanted roof on it so that the rain comes off of it. And I didn't really think that through too much. So I'm gonna put the base up first, and then I'll deal with the roof after that, and you guys will see what I end up doing with the roof. But I don't know, it's gotta be something that I can get in and out of, because I wanna be able to take the tortoises out of the tortoise pen when I need to, and put them in there when I need to, and everything like that. So it's gotta be one that I can open up. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. But in the meantime, right now, let's get this base put together and see what it's looking like. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. And I haven't screwed it in yet, but I'm going to. I just wanted to kind of get a look at what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, I think it's gonna look pretty good. I just have to screw it together. I was thinking about digging the boards into the ground a little bit so they're a little bit more sturdy, but I don't know, that just seems like a lot of extra work, to be honest, and I'm being lazy, and I probably shouldn't be lazy with this, but it just seems like a lot of extra work to do, and I really don't know how much of a payoff it's going to be, because, I mean, I would have to dig pretty deep for them to be sturdy, so I think I'm just going to leave it as is and just screw it in right now. Screw it together. Let's do that. All right, you guys, so the shelter is put together except for the roof. And so as you can see, I'll take you around it. And so what's going to happen is this shelter is going to be cut in half. So I'm going to split it in half with a board, right? So then one of the tortoises will be on this side and they'll be able to go in that way. And the other tortoise will be on this side and they will be able to go in through there. What I'm going to do now though is I'm going to go around and I am going to take this stuff, which is basically foam sealant, and I'm going to spray this into all the cracks, because what's the point of having insulation if the whole thing isn't fully insulated? So I'm going to spray this into the cracks and crevices of this shelter so that it fills the cracks and expands, and it will have a full tight seal. As you can see, there's some cracks. And so I am simply just going to spray this so that it covers them up. They're not major cracks, but honestly, the more coverage you get, the more effective it's gonna be. And so now I'm gonna let that sit, and then I'll be able to come back out here and scrape it off with a razor. But in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Home Depot now and figure out what I'm gonna do about this roof. So I'm gonna go see if I can find some supplies for a roof and just kind of figure out what I'm gonna do, because I'm not too sure yet. So I ended up finishing my tortoise enclosure. I finished the roof, and I realized after I finished the roof, it's been probably about like a week, maybe more. I never actually filmed the part of me like showing you what kind of roof I did. So things might look a little different, it's because the grass is kind of a little bit more grown. It's because I totally forgot to film the ending of my video. So I wanted to do that for you guys. So I decided to go just simple. And basically I made the roof the same way that I made the walls. Same thing. And I did that for simplicity. I might change it, but for the time being right now, it's working. So the tortoise house is complete. So this is what it looks like. You see, now this is why, you guys, I don't claim to be any type of builder, because my fence separating the two tortoise pens is already falling over. I didn't dig these posts in far enough, and so it's already got a lean, so I got to redig those in. But this is why I don't claim to be a carpenter or a builder, and this is why I didn't get into construction, because things would be falling over if that was the case. And so on the other side, you can see the little flaps were ripped off, so I got to put those back on. But this is the house. Yeah, you always want to play, don't you? The tortoise is not playing around with Shango. He does not like dogs. But Shango thinks he's playing. So let me show you guys what the inside looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up. So I got that post there for a little extra support. I got this bar across, this wood across to hold the roof up. And then you can see each side, they got a lot of space. But lots of space in case I end up getting a couple, more sulcatas. Now if you look on this side, they are digging and trying to get to each other. So I had to put a cinder block down there and a post so that they couldn't get to each other, because they get to each other and they start fighting each other. They already broke my centerpiece. But that is it. When it starts to get a little colder, damn, Shango. Okay, all right, you two, you will not leave me alone, will you? So eventually, I'll put the heating fixtures up on the roof. Then I'll have some heating pads down here for the winter time. So for right now, I'm going to keep the roof unattached. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I like it. It's convenient for me to be able to get into the enclosure. And if I need to ever take them out or take the roof off for whatever reason, or for when I'm going to put the heating fixtures in there, it's just gonna make it easier for me. But I don't know if I'm gonna even keep the roof like this. I might change it. We get a lot of rain down here, and so I might need to make the roof a little bit more sloped, because what I don't want to happen is I don't want rain building up on the top because the roof is flat. I don't want rain building up and then caving in on them or anything, because because of the stress, or if it puddles up or whatever. So I'm still trying to figure that out. What I have done is I've sprayed the entire house so that it is water resistant, and you can get like those spray cans at like Home Depot, water resistant spray cans for wood at Home Depot, and I just sprayed it so that when it does rain, the rain basically like balls up and then just rolls right off. I'm just gonna kind of keep an eye on it and just make sure that things aren't falling apart too quickly or anything like that in there, because like I said, this is my first time, and like I told you guys in, I think it was the previous video, that I'm learning as I'm making this video, so nothing's perfect here. I'm just happy that I was able to get this done and put these guys in their new enclosures now. It's just really cool to see them out here roaming around, eating the grass. And that's what I wanted. That was the whole goal. That's why I moved. That's why I came out here, was to give them as much space as possible and to give them a, you know, like a realistic living experience like they would in the wild. So I think I did that. So still little tiny things that I need to do in here, but for the most part, it's complete. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video, you guys. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully you got something out of it. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the tortoise house build, what you would change, what you would do differently. If you're gonna do something like this for your tortoises, let me know down in the comments. Make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and please, please, please share this video with some friends. Until next time, everybody, my name is Pierce LaValle. We are in Pierce's Planet, and remember, it's all about the reps, baby. Peace.